Hey y'all, thank you for joining me on another video. Hopefully this finds y'all well and safe. This week I want to talk about that new memory that came up. I'm not going to go into detail or anything like I said last week's video. It's just not one that is meant for general audiences, shall we say. But what I want to talk about is how I dealt with the video. Oh my goodness, the memory, and how I'm getting past it. Because I feel like it could help others with getting past horrible trauma. Um, as I stated last week, this memory is to date the most traumatizing. Um, I pray to God Almighty that it is the most traumatizing that I'll have to deal with, and that there isn't anything more traumatizing than this. Because if I have to deal with anything more traumatizing, I think I'll collapse. Um, it'll take God preventing me from collapsing. Because last week, when the memory was trying to come up, um, my body was going crazy. And I was thankful for the body signals because I recognized them as a memory trying to come up. And so when the memory did come up last Friday, I was prepared. So, like I said last week, I was able to, through going to therapy, I've learned the skill of being able to tell my brain, okay, not yet. Deal with it, but not yet. And so I was able to get through work, go out to eat with a friend, come home, and then deal with it. Boy, was that not fun. But all this week, my body was going crazy. I was not so much my body, but my mind trying to process everything. Um, I was literally my I was feeling like I was out of sorts and not being able to handle much of anything. It was all the fight I had in me to be able to stay at work and not clock out because I'm tired of leaving early, and I'm trying to accrue my PTO again because I have hardly any at all. I mean, I have maybe, I get some more this coming week, so I have maybe 8 hours because I've taken so much time off. So, trying to accrue it, and I'm just tired of taking off. I'm tired of this trauma winning. So, I've been really fighting hard, and this week it was a hard fight. It was literally all the strength God could give me for me to not call out. Wednesday was especially bad. The stress was affecting my back, which is typical for me. I wear it on my shoulders, literally. My shoulders and my shoulder blades. and it was affecting my intestines. Um, I was literally taking a call, um, then running to the bathroom, taking another call, then running to the bathroom, to the point to where I had to call out early. I had to call out 2.5 hours early because I was just not getting work done. Um, I came home and I was able to settle myself, um, to where I was able to go to church that night. I mean, because it was to the point I was wondering if I was going to be able to make it to church. Um, and um, so, but, and then Thursday all day, my mid back between my shoulder blades were on fire. I was threatening a migraine. I was taking my medicine to try to stave it off, and that did work. And then Friday happened. I had my normal Friday therapy session, and that's when we went through the narrative. If y'all didn't get to watch last week's video when I talked about the narrative, it's basically taking apart the particular incident step by step and putting it on like a storyboard, kind of, sort of. Where at one point through the narrative you draw pictures, well, general pictures. I couldn't handle drawing the pictures. I did everything else yesterday, but I couldn't handle drawing the pictures. And it's basically breaking it down forensically. And it does help because, oh, I felt so much better afterwards. Um, my therapist actually had me leave. Usually, our sessions, he doesn't schedule anybody immediately after me, because there are times we take an hour and a half. But since the session normally ends at 9 and I had to be to work for 10, he wanted me to have time to just get myself regulated, get some breakfast, because he knew I didn't eat, and um, get myself regulated before work. And by the time when I got into work, when I got in the session, he looked at me and he's like, "You look tired." I said, "I am tired. I'm just exhausted mentally." And he's like, "Well, are you up for this?" I said, "Yeah, let's get it over with. Get it done. Get it over with. And get it taken care of." And I'm glad I did. It was hard to get through. Oh my goodness. At one point going through it, when I remembered one of the toughest parts of the incident, where my ex was calling me every kind of name you can think of except a child of God. I won't go into the names he was calling me because I'm not going to repeat those names. But suffice it to say, they weren't nice names. I was just bawling. I was bawling, and because I'm very sensitive when it comes to names. They say sticks and stones may break your bones, but names will never hurt you. I know most everybody that watches my videos has heard that as a child. But the thing is, that's not true. I'm not dismissing physical abuse whatsoever because I was physically abused too. Not just by my ex, but by my father too. And physical abuse heals. Bruises, broken bones, they heal. And not that I would wish that on anybody. Do not misunderstand me. And I'm not lessening the trauma of physical abuse. But emotional abuse, at least for me, that has hit me worse than any of the physical abuse I've received over my years. Um, it's, I'm very sensitive when it comes to words, um, because I lead with my heart. I wear my heart on my sleeve. It doesn't take much to break it or hurt it. Um, my feelings don't hurt nearly as much as they used to, but I'm still sensitive. And so all the emotional abuse I've dealt with has been a lot harder to get over than the physical abuse. And I mean, that's just me. And when I was going through that part of the memory of when he was hurling insults at me and stuff, I just started bawling and crying, and I couldn't stop. And my therapist, he just got up, knelt next to me because, I sit on the couch and he sits across from me. He just got up, knelt next to me, and just hugged me and held me. And that was so healing to me because I'm a hugger. My love language is physical touch, hugging, a pat on the back, literal pat on the back, or somebody just doing like this up and down my back, kind of caressing my back. That's my love language. And just doing that helped compose me, helped me compose myself. And he got back up and sat in his chair, and he was almost like, I could sense that he was almost wanting to stop it, but I continued. And I thought I was going to be dragged down for the entire day. But after that, oh my goodness, I felt like there was a huge weight off my shoulder. I literally, all week, I had felt like I was dragged down, like somebody was pushing down on me. And after that session, I actually felt like somebody just lifted their hands off and I was fine. And I got through the entire day, including work. I went to work after this. I mean, I went and got breakfast, got a cup of coffee at my favorite coffee place that recognizes my voice when I make my order. um, and I was able to go to work without anything. I was in an upbeat mood. Um, there was a spring in my step. It was really nice. It really felt great. And then this morning, I had a weird dream last night that everybody was yelling at me, which that kind of coincides with the memory. So it's not really surprising. I knew where the dream was coming from. And I woke up just feeling so dragged down. I had a chiropractor's appointment this morning that I was actually late for because I just felt so dragged down I couldn't get myself out of bed. And I went to my appointment and I had plenty of time before I had to help my oldest run an errand. So I went for a drive. I grabbed a cup of coffee from my favorite place, and then coffee and a breakfast sandwich. I love their breakfast sandwiches. And then I went to my happy place, the park that I drive at all the time. And oh my goodness, for me, that's how I clear my head. I go for a drive. I drove there. There's a plate spot that's kind of quiet. The park you can even watch. They even have buffalo in this park. Um, so I went to this park and I just parked where the buffalo are on this big land, acres and acres and acres of prairie. And these buffalo are well kept. Um, and I just let myself stare off. I didn't check my phone. Um, talked to God through my heart because I didn't say anything. I just kind of stared off and let myself vegetate, kind of, sort of. And that helped. But then I came home and I still felt so dragged down. I literally was contemplating the idea of telling my youngest, look, I'll pay for an Uber for you. Because I'm going to check out for the day, go in my room, climb in bed, pull the covers over my head, and pretend the world doesn't exist. Because I was just so dragged down. I just, and, but I didn't allow that to continue. I decided, no, I'm going to take him to work. Part of it was because I'm too cheap to pay for an Uber. I mean, he would have totally paid, but I figured, since the plan was for me to take him, it was only fair that I would pay for an Uber. Um, and I took him to work. I put on my feel good, um, what do you call it? My feel good music, which is I have a playlist of country music, and one of it is Luke Bryan. Um, I put that on my music app, and I just started driving. I went, picked up some lunch for myself, and I just started driving and let my head clear and um, not have to think about anything but driving and listening to the music. And music always has been healing for me. Um, and I come back and I'm feeling way better. And that's the thing I want to also talk about is, you know, yes, there's a time when you need to let your body heal, and if you feel like you want to just check out for the day, stay in bed. Sometimes you do. I've done that when I literally am so dragged down where I'm like, nope, I'm not going anywhere today. And so any plans I had, I cancel. or put aside, and I stay in my pajamas all day, or what I call pajamas, and don't do anything except stay in bed, get rest. But I knew that that was the last thing I needed to do today because of what I went through yesterday. I knew that if I did that today, I wouldn't be able to get through. I'd be like this tomorrow. And I knew that I would be like this until I pushed myself. And I'm so glad I did. I'm not 100%. It's going to take a couple of days before I can really get through this. The after effects. I'm actually feeling better about the memory. Well, it's not hovering over me. It's not in my bones. I feel lifted from it. It's just going to take a little while to get over the after effects of it, a couple of days at least. Because, as I've said many times in many videos, trauma affects your body. Case in point, I mentioned in last week's video how my chiropractor literally used every tool that he owns or that he uses to adjust my back because of all the stress I went through the previous week with that memory trying to come up. And today when I went to my chiropractor, he didn't use every tool. It was less than last week, but he still had to do more adjusting than normal. A lot of it was in my neck and my shoulders, which is, for me, that's indicative of stress. And so it really gets into your bones. And in fact, it was my body that was alerting me that there was another memory. Because this memory, as near as I can tell, like I told my therapist, I'm pretty sure last Friday, the 28th, January 28th, was the anniversary of this memory, as best as I can estimate. And going by things that happened, that I remember happening before and after, I'm pretty sure Friday was the anniversary date. And I had forgotten about this specific memory. But my body didn't. I mean, like I said, I had forgotten about the memory. I wasn't thinking about it at all. But my body remembered. My body actually remembered and started giving me signals. And what was weird, and I'm pretty sure I mentioned this last week, was my body was remembering, but my brain was trying to suppress it. And I had to literally rest my body. I mean, not rest, relax my body to where the memory finally came up. Because my body was always tensing and always on fight or flight mode that I was so focused on that I couldn't focus on the memory coming up. And so I had to keep doing my relaxation exercises. I mean, literally, I would go through the motions, do the exercises to relax my body. 10, 15 minutes later, I'm doing it again. And then the memory came up. And it was because of my body giving me signals that I was able to prepare and able to put the memory aside temporarily until I was able to handle it. I mean, not handle it, but process it. And so trauma will be in your body. And even if you don't remember, your body will. And so, um, and I guess it's scary going through all of those memories because yesterday was not fun. And it's half tempting to just put it off. I mean, it was for me. And I'm the type of person where, okay, let's do this, run through the bolt like a bull in a china closet, let's just get this done and over with and, and move on. And so, even with that personality that I have, I was tempted to say, I'm not ready to get it done today. But fortunately, my personality pushed through and I was able to get it done. And it's scary because having to break apart each section of the memory, forensically, oh my goodness, that's tough. It was hard and it hurt because in going through that memory, another memory popped up, which is not uncommon. Another memory popped up within that incident where he was hurling insults at me, calling me horrible names and stuff. And my therapist even warned me that the next 36 to 48 hours, I could be having pop-up memories. So far, I haven't. Pop-up memories are memories that may be associated with this particular memory, or it could be something that's similar but from a different day or something. Like, for example, this memory that I just went through, a pop-up memory, a memory could come up that is similar to the incident, because what happened wasn't the first time it happened. It was just the most intense and the most chaotic and the most traumatizing. But there could be another incident similar to it that pops up because of this. So far, thankfully, that hasn't happened, other than feeling drained and like my energy had been siphoned out of me. I haven't had body signals at all. My body hasn't really been reacting, I think because my body's tired. And so I am thankful for that. But I've done this narrative before with other memories, and I've had pop-up memories, and it's not fun. It's scary. It's exhausting. But in the end, it's worth it. because now I can take that, because you write down the narrative, the ideas, you write down the narrative, uh, not detail by detail, just like highlights of each section. And then after you completely finish it and you completely go through it, you take the paper that you wrote on and you go somewhere and you tear it up and throw it into the wind, or you burn it. Um, it's symbolic to help get your mind focused on, okay, it's gone now. It's the past. It's no longer relevant. And that's a healing process. And so I haven't done that yet. I wasn't ready for that today. I'll probably do it tomorrow. Um, Going through things like this, healing, going through the process of healing is scary as all crap. Um, Things that have gone through my mind, when I want to what if this brings up another memory? Sometimes they will, I'm not going to lie. It's done it with me where I'm going through one memory and then another memory comes up out of the blue. Well, not out of the blue, it's a similar memory, um, but on a different day, and that'll come up, or you go through a memory, and then after the memory, you feel like you've just been given a 1, 2, 3 punch, pow, pow, gut punch, and you're just spent. I've had that happen, to where after a session, I've been so spent that there was no way I could have handled work. That's why I was proud of myself yesterday, that I was able to handle work without a problem. Work went off smooth, no issues. Mentally, I had some calls that were different, and that's the thing. I had a few difficult calls and a few difficult issues that I had to actually think to try to troubleshoot or whatever. And I got through it. And I was so proud of myself, y'all. You have no idea. And um I felt accomplished. But there were times that I was just so spent, especially when I first started doing these treatments, these narratives. Um, the very first one I did, I'm the type to jump in the water feet first, boom. Don't care if it's cold, just jump in. Some people just go step by step to get used to the water, get in a little bit further. Nope, not me. I run and jump headlong. And the first narrative I ever did was of the rape. And my therapist was like, "Are you sure? Because you realize it's going to trip memories with your ex, because as I've said in previous videos, my ex used the fact that I was raped before I knew him against me." And I'm like, I know, but this is a way to jump in feet first, get the ball rolling on the other ones coming up so we can deal with them. And that's how I've been. That's my personality. And that's what works for me. That doesn't mean it's going to work for everybody. It's just that's what works for me. After that session, I was not able to go to work. I immediately sent an email to work. Nope, not coming today. Because I was just so spent emotionally that I had nothing to give. As opposed to the one I did yesterday, it was exhausting, but I was able to go to work. So, with each one you do, because you know what to expect, that also helps. And um doesn't mean it's less scary. It just means you know how to get through it and push yourself through. Because all I could think of was, oh my goodness, if I'm going through this, is I pray there's nothing that comes up that's worse than this. And I don't think there is. I hope not. Um, but at the same token, I wanted to get this over with because my body was like all haywire. And I wanted to deal with this so my body could start healing. And that's what I want to encourage you. Even when you're scared to face it, there's a gal that I talked to that um, she was trafficked at one point, and she was able to get out of that life, thankfully, and she's doing okay now, taking steps to get her life back in order. And she was offered to go to a place, inpatient care, that specializes in helping people that were in the sex trafficking business. And well, it's a business, but it's not. It makes it sound legitimate, but it's not. But it helps those that were sex traffic victims. And she had a chance to go to it for free. And I'm like, go for it. She's like, no, it's in the past. I don't want to deal with it anymore. I just want to close that door. And I didn't push her on it because she's obviously not ready. And I get that. Everybody heals differently. And on the same token, that is a common thing where you get scared, you don't want to deal with it, you feel, okay, I'll just push it aside, act like it never happened, or just deal with the fact that it happened and move on and it'll go away. No, because I discovered through therapy that there were issues that I did that with. I was never trafficked, fortunately, but there were other issues that I thought I had dealt with decades ago, and it turned out I hadn't. Issues that didn't deal with my ex, it was other issues. I thought I had dealt with them. I thought I was beyond them. Therapy showed that I had not dealt with them, that I had only pushed them aside. And when everything else was coming up, that was like, hey, me too. Deal with me too. And that was rough. It'd have probably been easier had I dealt with it when it happened, but I wasn't able to at the time. for various reasons. But so I also want to highly encourage, if you have it, sought help um, for whatever your trauma is, or multiple traumas, please get help. Even if you gotta take it slow, because everybody heals differently. Um, Different traumas allow different types of healing. Different personalities allow for different types of healing. So don't go by how I'm healing, how I appear to be healing quickly, and say, well, why am I not healing that quickly? I'm not healing quick enough for what I would like. If it was up to me, here I am almost 2 years out. March 10th will be 2 years. And I'm still going to therapy pretty much every week. I wanted to be done and over with by now and not having to go to therapy at all, much less still going every week. Um, but I was traumatized for many, many, many years, so it's not like it's gonna be healed in just two, as much as I would like it to be. But also, just because I'm healing at a seemingly quick pace and it doesn't feel like you are, don't compare to me. I'm different. And I may not be healing as quickly as you think I am. These videos have actually helped me heal and talking about my trauma and my journey. But everybody heals at a different pace. There are people that I've seen that have healed faster than me, that I had to only go through trauma therapy for not even a year, for like 9 months, and then they're better. And that's what I thought it was gonna happen to me. Oh, I'm gonna get this done in 9 months. No. And so don't compare yourself to me. You heal at your pace, but I beg you to get some sort of help. Even if you just go to a group therapy, or one of those like um like Alcoholics Anonymous type uh programs, but for like Codependence Anonymous, or you know one of those, not specifically those, but something in that realm. Even if you go to something like that, that is healing in itself when you're in a group of like-minded people who, well, not necessarily like-minded people, but a group of people that have gone through similar things to you. That in itself is healing, because I've connected over the internet with people that have gone through similar to me. A really good friend of mine now, who she and I met over the internet, and it turns out she only lives an hour away from me. When we first connected, I was expecting her to live like in Pennsylvania or something, 1,000 miles away. And it turns out she only lives an hour away from me. And she and I have gone through what we went through in our trauma is almost, identical. In fact, she and I, along with her current boyfriend, fiance, went out to a late lunch one Saturday, And she and I were talking, and her fiance just looked at us and it's like, did y'all's boyfriends or y'all's exes know each other? Because it was almost carbon copy. And it's like, no, because when she was going through all of this, she lived in a totally different state than I did. She lived in a southern state, and I was living here in the Midwest. So it's just, but just talking with someone who has gone through similar, who gets it, that in of itself is so therapeutic. I have a dear friend who lives in this city with me. She and I used to go to the same church together, and when it existed, and she had gone through trauma with her ex, and we'll get together. We'll go to the local coffee shop, grab a cup of coffee, and talk. And one time, we talked for 4 hours. We just sat there and talked and talked and talked and talked and talked. Um, because it's so freeing to have someone who gets it. Because unless you've gone through this, it's hard to get it um, with others. And it's not a put down. It's just unless you've experienced it, it's hard to understand. And so I highly encourage to connect with others that have gone through a similar trauma, because that alone is therapeutic. Um, and I beg you to get help, even if it's through a group therapy thing, because it's you gotta heal. Because not dealing with it, it'll come up eventually. I guarantee you. And when it comes up, it'll be a lot harder to deal with than if you try to deal with it yourself before it comes up. Y'all have a good week. Stay safe and stay blessed. See y'all later.